Today, let's talk about something pretty much all of us go through, the insecurity loop. It's this really sneaky mental cycle that takes our biggest self-doubts and somehow, almost like a magic trick, convinces us they're cold, hard facts.
You totally know this feeling, right? You see something you really want to do, maybe apply for a dream job or start a new project, but then this voice in your head just hits the brakes. It tells you you're not good enough, you're not qualified, you're going to fail anyway. And so, you do nothing. You just stay put, feeling completely stuck.
But what if I told you that feeling isn't just random? That it's not just a bad mood or a bad day. It's actually a predictable, almost mechanical process. It follows a very specific kind of logic. And once you can see that logic, well, you can start to take the whole machine apart.
And this is what we're calling it, the insecurity loop. Now, the most important words there are self-reinforcing cycle. It's a system that literally fuels itself. It starts with one negative thought, which makes you avoid doing something, and then, here's the crazy part, your inaction creates the very outcome you were afraid of, which feels like proof that your original thought was right all along.
It might sound a little complicated, but it's really built on 4 pretty simple stages. So let's break it down piece by piece and see how it works.
So here's our roadmap. It all kicks off with that one negative thought. That thought leads straight to inaction. Then, that inaction creates what feels like real evidence. And finally, that evidence locks in and reinforces your negative self-image, which, you guessed it, gets you all set up for the next time the loop starts.
All right, let's start with step 1. This is the spark that lights the fuse. It's that little voice that just pops into your head. So let's use an example. You see a job posting, and it looks amazing, but your immediate thought is, oh, I'm not qualified for that. There's no way they'd hire me. Right now, it's just a thought. It's just a guess, really.
And this is the moment that thought turns into an order. Welcome to step 2, inaction. Because you've decided you're not qualified, the most logical thing to do is, well, nothing. You don't polish your resume, you don't even start a cover letter, you just close the tab. The thought has successfully stopped you from even getting in the game. And this brings us to the most deceptive, the trickiest part of the whole loop. The evidence it's built on isn't actual proof from the real world. Nope, it's completely self-made.
So here we are at step 3. Think about it. By not applying for the job, what's the guaranteed outcome? You will not get the job. That is a 100% certainty. And your brain looks at that result, I didn't get the job, and treats it like concrete proof that your very first thought, I'm not qualified, was totally right.
And right here, in step 4, this is where the damage really gets locked in. That evidence you just created for yourself hardens the original thought into a core belief. It's not just a fleeting feeling anymore. It feels like a proven fact. The thought goes from, I feel like I'm not qualified, to I am unqualified.
And just like that, the loop snaps shut. And that newly strengthened self-image, it's now the perfect breeding ground for the next negative thought. So the next time an opportunity comes along, you're not starting from a neutral place anymore. You're starting from this proven fact that you just aren't good enough.
Just look at this perfectly flawed logic. It's a perfect circle. You start with this assumption, I'm not qualified, and you end with the conclusion, see, I didn't get the job. The conclusion then gets presented as the proof for the assumption. It's a completely closed circuit.
You know, the craziest thing about the insecurity loop is that it's a totally internal system. It doesn't need any bad news from the outside world to keep running. It generates its own fuel, its own so-called evidence every single time you let that first thought stop you in your tracks.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty intense, right? But here's the really important part. How do we get out of it? Well, just understanding how this machine works is basically everything. Because once you see the gears turning, you can find the off switch.
So what are the big takeaways here? First, and this is huge, this entire loop is built on a feeling, not a hard fact. Second, the evidence it uses as proof isn't discovered, it's manufactured by your own inaction. And maybe most important of all, just recognizing the pattern is your key to breaking free.
Seriously, the second you can say to yourself, oh, wait a minute, this is that insecurity loop, you've already started to break its power. You're creating a little bit of space between that feeling of self-doubt and what's actually real. You can look at the evidence and know it's not valid because you know exactly how it was made. It just loses its punch. And so that really leaves us with the big question. Now that you can see the pattern, that first thought, the inaction, the fake evidence, and the reinforcement, you now have the power to step in and stop it.
The next time that negative thought pops up, you'll know what it's trying to build. So where are you going to choose to break the loop?